joining us now, lucky enough to be joined by the great Brian Westbrook. B. West, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling great, man. Afternoon, fellas. Listen, it's Super Bowl week. If you can't feel good this week, then I don't know when you're going to feel good.
All right, well, hop right into this thing. Is my mic on?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's good to go?
Yeah.
All right, B. Well, listen. I don't know if your memory is good or not, but it's 20 years ago, bro. 20 years ago, we were down here playing in the Super Bowl, man. What are some of the memories you have from that game, or that week, I should say? Forget about that game. But that week leading up to the game, what do you remember about that experience?
You know, the interesting thing about the Super Bowl week is that, you know, as players, you're just creatures of habit, right? You do the same things every Friday and every Tuesday and every Wednesday. And because you're in a different city, you don't get to do the same things, right? And so now you're trying to find things to occupy your time because you only practice, you know, let's say 8 hours a day. Then you have to figure out what else to do. You know, are you going out to eat? Are you hanging out with your friends? Are you opposed to being in your own home and just kind of playing with your dogs or doing different things at your house? You're literally trying to figure things out. So it just feels weird, which I'll say this, which really gives the teams that have had that experience, Jaylen Hurts and obviously the Chiefs and that crew, it gives those teams that have experience in these games just a bit of an edge. And so I just remember being bored that week, like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we just going to hang out with the players? Am I going to hang out with my boys? And there's also an overarching feeling that you have to remain focused. So it's not like you're going to the club every night or doing something crazy. You're not hanging out every night, but you also want to remain focused, but you just don't know what to do. And so, you know, I don't know if you remember, for some reason, I had in my mind that we were going to South Florida, not North Florida in Jacksonville. And I thought it was going to be nice and warm and everything. So all the clothes that I brought were warm weather clothes. And so it was an interesting week, to say the least.
Can I be honest with you, B.Y.? You guys really got screwed having your Super Bowl be in Jacksonville. Like, of all places,
oh, yeah.
Jacksonville.
I mean, seriously.
Like, I mean, there's Vegas and you know, Los Angeles and blah, blah. Miami. You guys get Jacksonville.
Yeah, I would have even taken Tampa.
Yeah.
Anywhere other than Jacksonville.
Well, was it worse than Minnesota? I mean, Minnesota or Jacksonville?
Minnesota's a cool city. It's cold, but I like Minnesota.
I don't know, B. We had fun in Minnesota, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a good time in Minnesota now. but we weren't playing, but we had a good time in Minnesota.
B.S., looking back at the 2-week period before the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, there's so much going on, and it's so much different than the rest of the season. Is there anything you look back on and you say to yourself, if I had a chance to do it again in that time period, I may have done this differently or that differently? Is there anything there?
No, I think Andy really gave us the heads up. Like, you know, before we get down to Jacksonville, make sure you get all your affairs in order prior to us getting down there. And that was one of the things where I got everything ordered, the tickets, you know, what I wanted to do, all these different things in order prior to getting down there. So I wouldn't have changed very much. I will say this. I've seen a lot of the players doing appearances and things like that the week before. And there's a lot of money to be made. And, you know, if I was being completely honest, I left a lot of money on the table through appearances because I didn't want to be the guy that was out doing the appearances the week before and leaving my team feeling that I wasn't preparing or taking the game serious. But there was an awful lot of money out there on the table the week before the Super Bowl, I'll tell you that.
And I got that money, babe. Yeah. I got my slice of that pie, baby.
I reached without and got that money. I'm not mad at you.
I got what I could get. There's no doubt about that.
So looking at this game on Sunday, Brian, we've seen, you know, even just in the playoffs, forgetting about the entire season, we've seen so many different sort of performances from Jaylen Hurts. The last one being the best one by far against Washington. What kind of game do you think we need out of Jaylen on Sunday?
You know, I think a lot of it's really going to depend on the run game, right? I think, you know, probably a running back, and maybe I'll overemphasize what's able to be done. But if we can control the line of scrimmage, right, that changes what the expectation for Jaylen is going to be. If we control the line of scrimmage, now we're talking about second and short, third and short, and the expectation for Jaylen is totally different. Now you're throwing quick slants instead of 20-yard digs, you know, when it's third and long. And so a lot of it's going to be dependent upon the offensive line. But if you're looking at must-haves for Jaylen Hurts, he must be consistent, throwing the ball in rhythm, not turning the football over, making good decisions on the RPOs. He has to do those things to be able to lead this team to a Super Bowl. And when we talk about turnovers, I think about this. In the games that the Chiefs either lost or the game was close, Bengals, they lost by 1 point to the Chiefs, they controlled the opposing team, created turnovers. So defensively, we have to create turnovers, and they have to be able to control the football, control the time of possession. So that means we have to get the run game going. We have to be consistent with all the things that we're doing offensively to stay on schedule, right? 1st and 10 needs to go to 2nd and 5 to 3rd and 3. We don't want to be put in the position where Jaylen Hurts has to be taking 7-step drops. Steve Spagnuolo is throwing every blitz in the book at him, and now we're in that position where we're trying to convert in 3rd and long. That's not where we need to be at. So being consistent offensively on 1st and 2nd down will lead to a much easier game for Jaylen Hurts.
Take me in the mind of Saquon, B. He's obviously the focal point of the offense. If you're the Chiefs, you're trying to make someone else, i.e. Jaylen, beat you and don't allow Saquon to sort of do what he does. Similar role that you had in our offense. I know T.O. was there all year, but we lost T.O. with a couple games left to go, and he wasn't back until we got to the Super Bowl. You became the focal point of a defense and of our offense. And in that Super Bowl, I'm imagining the Patriots had to be keying in on you. And I'm wondering from that perspective, how do you manage that, right, when you realize the other team is pretty much trying to do everything to stop you, and how does that translate with what Saquon's going to be faced with Sunday?
You know, you're right. It's difficult, and I think there were times, especially in that game that we played against the Patriots, that they were bound to say, okay, we're not going to let Westbrook do his thing because that leads to the offense and their ability to, just like I mentioned, stay on track, to stay in a positive situation, not having 3rd and long. And so, you know, for Saquon, I have to believe that he's going into that game saying, I have a dominant offensive line. They provided holes for me all year long. They provided opportunity for me not to get touched until I'm 3, 4, 5, 6 yards down the field. I'm going to be patient. And unfortunately, when you are in a situation like the Super Bowl, you become impatient as a runner. You want every run to be a home run. Saquon has a great ability to be patient, and that's going to be super important this week, that he's going to be patient, allow the game to come to him, allow those 3- and 4-yard runs to turn into 30- and 40-yard runs, because that's where he's the most effective. And, you know, I think he has the ability to do everything that you want a doggone running back to do. And so he has to be able to trust that offensive line, which he has all year, and he'll be fine. I'm not worried about Saquon in the least when I look at the game plan for this week.
With us right now, Brian Westbrook. U.S. flipping to the other side. You know, you're not stopping Patrick Mahomes. You're not rattling Patrick Mahomes. But when you watch him, is there a way that you think the best way to play him specifically is, and the way that the Eagles sort of attack that problem?
Absolutely. You take away his first option. You force him into those 3rd and longs. Like we mentioned, for us, we want to stay on track. We want to stay on schedule. You force Patrick Mahomes into 3rd and long situations, make him stay in the pocket, which is one of those things where it gets 3rd and long and everyone's dropping, making sure that Kelce's covered and all these other receivers are covered. And next thing you know, Patrick Mahomes, who you don't necessarily say he's a great runner, he's running for 12 yards in the first down. So the first thing is you want to put him in long to go situations on 3rd down. Then you certainly have to stay in front of him. You can't drill behind him as a defensive line, because now he has a chance to run, and he's done that successfully in almost every important game that we've watched him. And then now you have to find a way to take the ball away. Our defense has been so opportunistic, and I saw a stat the other day, and it's hard to believe that it's true. I saw a stat that said we have had 21 turnovers in the last 6 games. I mean, that's absolutely impressive. And so we have to find a way to get the ball back to our offense and limit their possessions. If we can do that, then we have a chance in this football game.
You know a stat I did not know, and I think I saw, I got to give it credit on ESPN, I saw it earlier, is that in the 5 Super Bowls, I guess this will be the 5th Super Bowl for Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
I think this will be the 5th one?
Yep.
Does he have 4 interceptions? I think he may have 4 interceptions in his Super Bowls. So I mean, that is there. You can take advantage of it when it happens.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
The thing is, he doesn't give you very many opportunities. So if there's an overthrow or a tip, you got to make sure you come up with it. If you get a sack on him and it's a strip fumble, we got to recover it versus them recovering it.
Right. One of the things that I would say is, just like anything else, you talk about Saquon on our side. Don't let Saquon beat you. Force Jaylen Hurts to beat you. I'm saying, okay, we understand that Travis Kelce is his guy. We got to find a way to stop him too. If it means put two people on Travis Kelce, let's do that. We can't allow Mahomes to Kelce to be that matchup that we can't contain. That's the one thing that we can't give up. We can't allow that to happen. And that means he's working the middle of the field, and now we're forced to tackle someone that's 6'6", 260. We have to take that away and make him go to his second and third read. That allows us as a defensive line to be able to penetrate a little bit more to get some more pressure on Mahomes.
And you best believe they know that we allowed Zach Ertz to turn back the clock to 2017 in that championship game. I mean, my goodness.
Yes, sir.
They did. 11 or 12 catches
but here's the thing. I believe, and I don't know this to be true, I want to believe that this is true, that as an offense, we were not as afraid of Zach Ertz making the big play down the field. So the one thing we didn't want to give up is Terry McLaurin running past our entire defense. So we were rather rally to Zach Ertz because we know he's not going to break a bunch of tackles, and we know that he's not going to be a run-after-catch type of guy. Travis Kelce's different. He kicks the ball in the middle of the field. He runs it himself. He pitches it back. He does a lot of different things. This is a different beast, even though Zach Ertz had a very good game against us last weekend.
All right, B.S., well, let's get to the real thing here. The game's on Sunday. Eagles, Chiefs. What's your call? What's going to happen?
I think that the Eagles are a better team. I think they're in a position where they have been dominant offensive line, defensive line. And when you talk about the key to winning football games in this league is having a dominant offensive line and defensive line. That leads me to believe that Saquon's going to have a good day, and Jaylen's going to have a good day on some of these RPOs as well. That also leads me to believe that we'll control the game, the time of possession. So I believe that we win this game 35-30.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. Your lips to
High
God's
scoring.
ears.
Definitely sound like an offensive guy.
Yeah.
You want points. I'm here for the over. I want points.
All right, B. West, we appreciate your time, brother.
All right, broski.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Take care. There he is, Brian.
35-30. We're talking about heart palpitations.
Oh, yeah.